Houston, over.
On the final frontier, offenses against the fan base are considered especially heinous. They are investigated by the dedicated reviewers of the Sci-Fi CSI. These are their stories. Good evening, sirs and madams. It's your buddy Admiral Teag. I'm here with my friend Resolute Germ. How are you, sir?
Not too bad.
Greetings,
Thankfully.
everyone. We had a case of sci-fi rug pulls and really self-celebratory circle jerking here that we have not seen in a long time. This was one of the worst episodes. And again, it is an open question. Is this the worst ever live action televised episode of anything ever to be called Star Trek, including independent fan films? This was once again bad. Okay. Sci-Fi CSI hearing is hereby convened. I am Admiral Teag, lead investigator, and with me is Resolute Germ, who assisted with the investigation. Sci-Fi CSI Agent Carter and... That's funny, Agent Carter. I hadn't thought of that before. Sci-Fi CSI Agent Carter and Sci-Fi CSI Agent Kirk are en route, as is Sci-Fi CSI Agent Mark. They'll be beaming in at various points depending upon how long we debate this crime. It was not a very complicated crime, Germ. It looks to me like this was basically SWI, starships while intoxicated.
Hey, I'm doing this job while intoxicated. Why shouldn't they?
Absolutely. Hey, Sci-Fi CSI case number SNW 0403. I'd like to welcome everyone from the press, except for the failing New York Times. Germ, don't take any prep questions for the New York Times or the Washington Post. We have read your reviews of Strange New Worlds, and you are fake news, and we will not be answering your questions. The narrative remains were discovered a few hours after being dumped at about 3 a.m. This seems to be part of a ritual for the perpetrator. Sci-Fi CSIs were on the scene documenting the evidence soon after discovery, and now we are ready to release our findings. The crime scene was Paramount Plus. As is with all new Trek shows, witnesses were scant and accounts widely vary. We suspect a mix of TOS episode Shore Leave, the Michael McKean episode of Voyager called The Thaw, season 2, episode 23, about the one where he plays a clown, and also partially digested remains of Star Trek V and Star Trek Insurrection were found in the stomach of this episode. Germ, did you concur with these findings?
That's about what I saw in it.
The worst part of this episode is about how poorly it compares to its biggest parent episode. For lack of a better term, Naked Time and Naked Now with a little enemy within and a dash of This Side of Paradise, I suspect were the AI prompt that created this abomination. Germ, what was your feelings on that one? Did we name the source, the script sources that were thrown in there as a prompt with the Hangover?
Yeah, those are about what I saw. Is a lot of the Hangover.
The Hangover, owned by Warner Brothers, about to become part of Paramount. And we got, again, just a terrible flashback. Alex Kurtzman is about the same age as me. So, of course, his dorm room experiences roughly match my dorm room experiences. And basically what he's done is turned everything that I used to do in my dorm room that was enjoyable into something that I now have to think way too much about. And he tells me I should feel bad about, or he has recontextualized in a way that I now feel bad about. Okay. In my dorm room, I had a lot of fun. I watched a lot of Star Trek, and I watched a lot of Kids in the Hall. In this episode, we saw a not so cool version of Dave Foley from Kids in the Hall. Let's take you through the external examination. The subject presented as an odd-length episode carcass, approximately 45 to 50 minutes in residual runtime. Though, Germ, I felt that it it seemed far longer to me than 50 minutes. How long was this episode? Was this about 50? This was not quite an hour, was it? It was 49, 51, somewhere in there.
I believe somewhere around there.
In true Kurtzman style, we started out with 4 to 6 minutes of sustained complaints by principal crew members regarding the urgent need for shore leave, despite prior recovery in a bar at the end of episode 2. When we left them, they were drinking. So they need a vacation to recover from their vacation, so they're going to go on vacation. This is not earned by any sort of... They're just coming off of one vacation onto another vacation and recovering from vacation by taking vacation.
Yeah, that's very typical for the California mindset.
Is this California mindset, or is this like some sort of like Beijing like mindset? It's like, I don't know what's going on here. The subject presented as an odd length episode. There are 4 to 6 minutes of sustained complaints by principal cast members regarding the urgent need for shore leave despite prior recovery in a bar. The story was heavily saturated with intoxicant tropes from the first frame, but got much worse upon contact with the planet's atmosphere. This was a failed attempt at the standard everyone gets high by mistake trope, except that they do this on purpose, that we've seen across all of television for decades and is persistent in every iteration of legitimate Star Trek. Has one episode where something affects everyone's state of mind and we go a little nuts for a while. Be it a ghost, a spirit, Day of the Dove, a holodeck malfunction, something going on with the computer, being taken over by powerful mind control beings, some form of hallucinatory generating like mind flayer type thing. We've seen it all in Star Trek. So this fell within the standard everyone gets high by mistake thing. And I guess the first one would be Naked Time, where a collapsing planet causes the water DNA to the water molecules, the molecules in water resequence. And for whatever reason in Star Trek, if you're near a collapsing planet, they can have an effect on you and you start to act rather unreasonable. In this episode, they go to a planet where just being there messes you up. It was a weird cross between the Genesis planet and the Insurrection planet. Did you understand what the hell they were trying to say in the horrible greeting that seemed... Was that supposed to be from Arsenal of Freedom? Was that beginning gleaned from Arsenal of Freedom? What the hell were we seeing early on there?
That reminded me a little bit of Arsenal of Freedom, but more from like scenes from The Hangover.
Like when they find their cell phone.
Yeah.
I think that we have a better slideshow here for you. We have extensive crime scene evidence. This was a ritualized deal by the same person who killed the last episode. I don't know if I would say it was a more ridiculous episode, but this one, again, we might be back in a contest to have the worst episode of Star Trek ever. Here are the stars of our episode. Germ, it's Erica and Monty, aka Scotty and Ortegas. I hated this version of Scotty. I think that we finally found something I agree with Ortegas on. I hate Scotty too.
This ain't Scotty. This is Skippy.
Hey, the dead man. Thank you. With a generous $1.99 Greenlandian Greenback super chat says, dude, where's my shuttle? That might be an effective way to put the name of this episode. I can't knock that one. That's a good possible alternative name. The story was heavily saturated with intoxicant tropes from the first frame. There was a failed attempt at the standard everyone gets high thing we've seen in Star Trek. The supporting cast remained underutilized. The primary narrative heavy lifting has shifted disproportionately to Lieutenant Ortegas, who is compelled by a budget that never appears on screen into being the show's main character. Ortegas displays chronic bilateral hostility towards this iteration of Montgomery Scott. Only their shared substance abuse and mutually consenting but still grim and unfunny relationship connect these characters in any way. Germ?
Yeah, that seems about right. They don't like each other. So we end up not liking either of them, to be honest. Their entire overall relationship pretty much spoils any on-screen chemistry we're supposed to see with them, so at best we don't care.
We can't tell. Let's be honest. We can't tell what they're going to do, and we can't tell what was implied to happen was a furry hookup. We found a lot of synthetic furry hair and a lot of weird fluids at the scene. It was pretty disgusting. I don't know how to describe it. This was definitely one of the stupidest episodes of anything I've ever watched on television. Do me a favor, guys. Tweet out that we're live. Let people know. We put the show together. I've been working away. I have not had time to do my usual publicity. So if you could help me out, I'd appreciate it. Early on, we see the confrontation between Scotty and Erica. Later on, they're going to have a little quality time together, and they're going to spend this episode working out why they don't get along. But this is number one telling Pike that the crew is really cooped up and angry, and we see the various members of the crew at the edge of fighting with each other. And if this had been in any way earned, maybe I could have gone along with it, but it was absolutely ridiculous in the way that we've seen it, because here we are on episode 3. We came in off a vacation. Then last episode, we went on a break and took a vacation. And now we've been working so hard that we need a vacation. If I didn't have to be around these people, I would say I would want to work at Starfleet.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be a pretty easy job, but then the coworkers. Some jobs are held because of your coworker.
What can I tell you? There was a consenting but still grim and very unfunny relationship with furry stuff going on to connect these two characters. It's the only thing that they have that happens. This is the deal. Everyone's been in space for so long that they're getting ornery and angry with each other. And we see Christine getting all angry and pissed off here. And like we said, JT said we won't call her Nurse Chapel because the show doesn't call her Nurse Chapel. We'll call her Christine because the show calls her Christine. And you know what? Let's take a moment out to say hello to every single one of you as we say hi to our fans. We got Headcase, Track Reviewer, Gavin Unit, and the Dead Man out there. What can I tell you? This one was one of the worst ones we've seen so far, but I don't know. I'm still on the fence as to whether it was the worst. We'll have to think about it a little more. Going forward, we go to Planet Complete Stupidity, and this is their infomercial that they send to people, and it's supposed to be in the spirit of TOS, but the art isn't anywhere near as good. It's kind of trolling TOS because it's so bad. Whether they wanted to or not, you can see for yourself what we've got here. Germ, trolling or innocent? This seems like trolling to me.
I don't think outright trolling. They just told the AI to spit out something animated.
They didn't pay for the top of the line AI either. This was not.
No, this is free credits on the AI generator.
We might be able to keep Paramount from sending a hitman to my house by saying that they should have used the Oracle AI to do this, I guess. This was not any kind of. This actually could have been old school hand drawn stuff. I don't know if they had pre-democratized AI, because they did this in like January when the AI that was most commercially available was only just so. And they had, I mean, maybe effects were done later. The last 10 months have seen some of the biggest growth and democratization of AI. What people who could get subscriptions and stuff to it had before that, it's hard for someone like you and I to tell. I don't know, Germ. The only subscription AIs that I have are like Grok and like one other. How about you?
Oh, I don't pay AI.
So they have a low. Well, if you have Grok, you have a low. We have a low tier rendering that's in the style of TOS loosely of the planet, where they're kind of begging you to come down there, and that's when we see this really weird character from TAS. Be back in a couple of seconds. Jerem, what was going on with the TAS Helmsman species character? Were they trying to imply that we would see anything cool, or are they just making up for the real lack of aliens by throwing one in the cartoon? And why would any planet communicate with us with an animated cartoon while a man spoke to us in a cartoon-like voice? This was one of the roughest appeals to go on vacation I've ever gotten anywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of like that third tier vacation spot, a rip off of the rip off of the rip off of Six Flags.
I think they're trolling Star Trek cruises. Are they trolling the Star Trek cruise? Because they aren't really part of it or invited?
It's possible, but
like people who can do the Star Trek cruise with relevance are like the guy from Discovery who was in Shape of Water, because that movie has an Academy Award, right? And because he does all the physical acting now, he's the new Dave Park. I'm trying to think who else could do the cruise. No one likes really the character Tilly. No one likes really the character Michael Burnham. They have not produced a fan favorite. There's no Spock. Not even their Spock is Spock. Although I did find myself feeling bad for Ethan Peck and thinking that out of everyone in this episode, if there was one person who had a good performance, it might have been Ethan Peck. Jerem, what do you think? And it was stupid, but the script also asked the least from him.
yeah, he usually is one of the best on screen, because while everyone has crap to do, he's probably the most skilled on screen who isn't completely embittered with the entire situation.
They're talking about him being Batman.
That
was a rumor. You know what, Ethan Peck, with this terrible role that he's been in, I would like to see the screen test. I believe I would be interested in his audition. He has never broken with seriousness, as stupid as this has been. But thank you, Dead Man. This update brought to you by the Dead Man. Was it real? This was a really dumb episode, but I did enjoy the Total Eclipse of the Heart sung in original Klingon. Something tells me that was real world German. What do you think?
They may have been trying to sound German. It didn't sound German to me.
Was it fake German? You know what it was? It was Rebecca Romanian. This episode was doing anything but living in a powder keg and kicking off sparks. There he is. Kids in the halls, Dave Foley, Germ. Remember when Dave Foley had the whole world on a string?
I more remember him from news radio.
He was still doing good on news radio. By the way, Dave Foley was last seen. You know what? Dave Foley had been entertaining and funny on Kids in the Hall for a long time, but his career had been missing since Stardate 1996, and he was last seen wandering away from an after party for the movie Brain Candy. The Kids in the Hall had won a fight with Paramount to keep the needlessly offensive and deeply unfunny, newly rolled out Cancer Boy character in the movie. Remember that fun character, Germ?
Thankfully, no. Kids in the Hall was not really something that was on my viewing list.
They have since destroyed what they had, but there was a time when they really were very funny, and they did it better than most other people. But Dave Foley, whose Paramount projects since 1996 have pretty much all failed. Archival records have been rumored to exist of him blaming the issues on a divorce. So financially punished, a divorce. Hold on, take two. Archival records have been rumored to exist of him blaming the issues on a divorce so financially punishing he hasn't worked in decades out of depression over how very little of his own money he gets to keep. Have you heard about this, Cherb?
Yeah, I also heard a few other things that I can't really repeat without being liable.
If you say allegedly, unless they're really tawdry, you can say them.
Allegedly, he enjoyed company of several people that were not his wife in any way,
So
shape, or form.
you might have been cheating. All right, that's a bit no big huge deal. Was he cheating across gender spectrums?
That is the rumor I heard.
All right, that would be the question that would follow up. All right, here's the thing though. That was survivable, especially in the 90s, especially pre-woke, and then like the woke stuff, I guess their interest in redeeming Dave Foley out of nowhere has been revealed, but I saw a very rusty, formerly very funny guy just lost. He was lost tonight, Jerome. What did you think?
It looked like they picked him up out of a gutter and said, "Hey, you want to check to pay your alimony?"
I don't remember the Scott Thompson episode of Voyager, and Jerome probably couldn't help me because he doesn't know the kids in the hall. He might was it one where they came to Earth, or was he an alien? This episode was so far from episode 1 where I don't want people to start thinking I ever said episode 1 was good, but this is so far from episode 1 where there was a conversation to be had about how bad it was rather than the episode just being putrid. This one was putrid again. This is a step down. There's no discussion really about this one except maybe whether it's the worst. The emerging pattern seems to be defaming Paramount properties, or in case of the attempted theft of The Hangover, a property soon to be bought by Warner Brothers. We believe this to be the work of one Alex Kurtzperson, a serialized story killer. The termination was made due to similarities in the attack pattern and the profiling of the victimized IPs. The only good news is there are now only 22 Kurtzman Trek episodes left between this and Starfleet Academy. Examiner signature Admiral Teag, Sci-Fi CSI Forensic Unit 0403 will now take questions from everyone but the crooked, fake, and failing United Federation of Planets Times. Do not take any questions from the Federation of Planets Times, Terms.
No, they're fake news.
You know what? You guys are fake news. I'll throw out the plot points. You react to me. This opens with 4 to 6 minutes of complaining. We've mentioned that they're recovering in a bar after we left them in a bar. We left them in a bar and they're back in a bar complaining again. Why do I feel like we're again circling around Alex Kurtzman's college dorm room? Ortegas in this version.
It is great symbolism for the obvious alcoholism that this cast must suffer from now, having worked so long with Alex Kurtzman.
I don't know if the cast has any problems, but I would say that we have been consistently confused by the way Strange New World has gone down, and we have been consistently confused by, how can I put it, the episode structure. The episode opens in classic style. Ortegas in this version of Scotty are already openly at odds at the beginning, and it's continuing a prior episode beat, something the AI did a good job in reminding the writers. They have a mutual inability, they bond over their mutual inability to regulate intoxicants and shared furry kink to keep things, but they're keeping things only mildly civil before violence can erupt. Ortegas has become the de facto main character due to salary and usage issues with Mount and Romaine. The crew heads to this planet called Kznar And we find out there's several shifts, and it's just the Alpha shift that needs a break. And that's why everyone has had a vacation except for them, except for they're the ones we see in a bar every single episode. And Pike, while he's being told he needs a vacation, is like hanging out in his huge cabin. He's not doing any worky. There's no worky stuff going on ever on this show.
At least not for him. He's very, very pampered.
Well, his character is there to misunderstand his orders, have them re-explained to him by the female crew who roll their eyes while he sits there. This did not happen in this episode. There was no orders given by the Admiral where he looked like confusedly at the screen. Instead, we just had Rebecca Romaine woman-splain to him that he needs to go on vacation because he's too aggressive, and that Mabanga's even worse. To which I say, go on vacation right now. A high-strung Mabanga is a dangerous Mabanga. He has deleted how many people in this show? When he gets angry, he kills people. Mabanga is out of his mind. Just take him on vacation.
Let's get him angry. Maybe he'll take out the ship.
All right. So the crew heads to planet Kznar, administered by Dave Foley, is a manic, less cool Groppler Zorn type whose performance shows advanced career atrophy. And you see him there. Like, there's like a conga line in their greeting to you about whether or not you want to come to their planet. And they show you all the amenities that you can get on their planet. I didn't need to see this, and I don't know whose kink this was to show us Dave Foley's alien feet. It was clearly a prop. It was gross. It wasn't really even a well-done prop, but it was more of the stupid shit that we get here. Foot fetishing, body horror, a lot of just weird stuff. It is so weird. And here's Ortegas. She thinks this is a great, fun place because what happens is we take the shuttlecraft down and we did something that I didn't expect. They didn't get high until they opened the door. Didn't you expect them to start being affected as soon as they entered the planet's atmosphere because they didn't understand the shuttle was airtight? That was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, that was a pleasant surprise that they waited until the door actually opened.
It was a big deal, actually. They spent a lot of time talking about how they had to open the door. And when they did, they would find out whether or not, like how it was. And if you're coming in now, welcome. We've got an ongoing slideshow of the events of the episode. You're still quite early. All we've done is left the ship and show up on this planet. It has constituted, however, I would say about 20% of the episode's events of this show. So the setup is simply that they're going on shore leave because after going from bar to bar to bar, they need to go hit a bar. One of the things they complain about is efficiency being down because they're all cooped up. However, I'd point out everybody spends their time at indoor parties or sitting around drinking or just hanging out. Like, this is the equivalent of going skiing and like hanging out in the lodge, faking an injury and just hitting on chicks. What do you think, Jerm?
Hey, that's the best way to ski. Don't down it.
It doesn't make for an episode of Star Trek. It just means that these guys are like, that's how their minds work. That's a smarter idea that was given to them at a ski lodge one time after one of them broke their legs trying to impress some guy. But Ortegas is being hit with the wind. When they open the door, the atmosphere sweeps across them, and we have a series of cheap plug-in effects. No atmospheric precautions were taken, okay? The planet's atmosphere produces immediate, variable, psychoactive high effects. The crew blacks out upon landing. The shuttles effectively everyone in the shuttles effectively overcome. A one-day temporal gap of missing time follows. Upon recovery, a series of cheap after the hallucinatory plug-in trips, there's a bunch of unfunny jokes. Despite the toxic atmosphere, most of the crew proceeds to a single interior bar set previously used on the Section 31 film. Sure, was that the Section 31 bar or what?
Did look a lot like the Section 31 bar.
Snapped some of it back together. It wasn't the full length thing, but like it was like the cardinal point of it where everyone went to get their drink. Continuous drinking is constant. No one stays dry. Now, they're already whacked on this planet as soon as they get there. You don't need anything else. Pike can barely talk. Scotty starts drinking anyway. Mabanga, a.k.a. Murderer, lives out his fantasy of being a fucking bartender. All I can say is, as long as he's not doing surgery on me, he might be a good guy to have to be a doctor if you're into doctor shopping and over prescriptions. Because, wow, the way he is with the booze, if he's like that with everything else, holy shit. Let's be glad they didn't go to Risa. They would have ruined it. They at least created their own retarded planet to go to. Admiral Rhodes slips back in the 80s. Yeah, who knows? That would have been something if Commodore had been in this one, she might have had some sort of like hallucinogenic trip, and we might have had an outer body experience where we doubled Carol Kane with someone attractive, but she's done her episode count for this. She'll be back in the final episode. I don't think we're going to see her again for a while. What do you think? This was Erica's episode.
For a couple of minutes here and there.
Yeah, filmed before in like a one-day shoot of random reactions. We'll see her react and say something out of context and crazy, which is how her character is written, until she's suddenly profound. But you can see how bad the effects are here. This is like Brady Bunch level. This is what Uhura sees. This kind of looks like just before your Grok picture renders, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, just a bit.
I guess they're fascinated by the effect. There's no explanation for why the planet's this way or why nobody would want to wear a filter to regulate how messed up you would get. I would also, Germ, I would point out first time on this planet. They don't say anyone's been there before on this planet called Kznar. Why don't we send down a few people in the spacesuits on this for this show to make sure nothing goes wrong and guard the shuttle?
Who cares? It's just the lives of your entire first shift crew.
Okay, so Mabanga, aka Murderer, lives out his bartender fantasy. He has never been happier. Recommendation: leave him there. Germ?
Yeah, he can pass out a bunch of happy pills to all the vacation goers. Perfect use of his medical degree.
And I know I thanked in the chat earlier, but did I mention Ruby Hoove? If I forgot, I am sorry. I think I did mention it, but a bunch of you did get memberships from Ruby, so make sure to thank her in the chat. And it's good to see Ruby. Ruby, thank you very much. I'm so sorry. I did remember to type it in there. I was looking at the chat earlier, and I did try to thank you. I didn't see you popping up in there, but we will get this episode review in there for you in an entertaining manner, more entertaining than this episode was. This is the moment after being on this planet where you get intoxicated from the air. For some reason, they come clear. Now, Scotty is still wasted because he got drunk while he was trashed on the planet's air. But Erica and Erica alone comes totally clear. Can you help me out with this one?
It's always a bummer when you're unexpectedly sober on a bender.
What's the analogy? Like a person who's drank so much they're accidentally pretty much straight?
Yeah, she rounded the corner to... There's at some point you get so fucked up, all of a sudden you're as clear-eyed as a priest on Sunday morning.
Well, perhaps. But yeah, no, you're not wrong. They put on the Mugatu costume from our tile. They're furries. They did furry stuff together. Like, that's what we're left to believe. And while they're sorting it out, Gropler Zorn, I didn't get the name of this retarded character from Dave Foley. This character was absolutely retarded. This was the stupidest character we've seen this year on New Trek. The only thing I can say to them is congratulations on creating your own character. This was a Rings of Power elf with a Rings of Power leftover elf retest outfit and Rings of Power elf ears and some kind of wig that may not be Mr. Foley's real hair. I think it's a wig. What do you think, Germ?
I'm pretty sure it's a wig. Dave Foley, I don't think, is doing pretty well in the hair department these days.
Dave Foley looked age beyond his like 63 or 64 years. He wasn't that old. Dave Foley's not that far above 60. He might even be like younger. Can you quickly, is it possible for you to check his age, man?
Yeah, let's see about that. But
So
Dave
on
Foley's had a
Kznar,
hard
there's
life.
yeah, he had a really terrible marriage not work out on him to the point where Dave Foley like played hooky from his own career for about 10 years because it wasn't worth it for him to work. He would keep so little of his own money after taxes that he couldn't afford the expenses of life to get if he worked. So he had to sit home and wait out his divorce, which is crazy. You would figure you'd renegotiate with the wife because that meant she got nothing. So I don't know. Like we're talking like he had a lump of money from before she was around that was enough for him to get by on. And I guess now he's trying to kickstart his career. Rumors about his character probably come from the divorce, and we have no evidence. And Dave Foley used to be funny. I feel bad for people I see that I used to like when I see them in this. I feel bad
Oh.
for Carol Kane, but she's been been horrible for so long. How old is he? Tell me he's only like 59.
Dave Foley is 63 years old, but he does
I'm
look a
close.
little extra rough. He is from Toronto.
He also looks like he's been through hell. I do not think I'm not implying he drank heavily or anything like that, but he does look aged beyond his years, especially for someone in Hollywood. Dave Foley, of course, supplanted by Greg Kinnear, the same person, but maybe more reliable with a little bit more acting range. No precautions were taken. A 1-day temporal gap is missing. Upon recovery, the crew proceeds to a single interior bar. Dr. Mbenga becomes the bartender. Everyone except Spock, Ortegas, and Scotty is very, very affected. Spock shows no visible physiological impairment, but babbles nonstop about how he's peaking and conducts extended dialogue with a hallucination of Kirk. This part doesn't square up at the end.
Yeah, I didn't think they did too well with it.
They're not able to
It
make
is
this part work out.
it is a common trope where the straight-laced guy acts very, very straight-laced, except for one random thing, like he's talking to a guy that isn't there. He just didn't pull it off.
Pike is among the most affected. This is reverse Star Trek. Your captain's supposed to succumb last. Whenever we saw people passing out in the bridge on TOS, the person who passed out last was always Captain Kirk, and he was the one giving commendations to his crew. Whenever we see people overcome by some sort of like sound weapon that like slowly subdues you, everyone goes down first except Kirk. Even Spock is a little less tough than Kirk under prolonged stress weapons that wear you down. Spock might have more punching power than Kirk, but Kirk has more stamina than anyone else in the crew. He really is tough. It's an early proto version of people drawing strength from the captain. The Enterprise story we recently saw together that most closely parallels the people draw strength from the captain that purified it to the point where it was a little maybe too unrefined. They I'm sorry, that purified it to the point where it really had no grit to it was Vox Sola, where they're all connected by like space mucus, and a giant mucus thing is making them have like a mind meld and it's wearing people down. But the captain is so mentally strong that because they're mind melding together, he is able to loan a little of his strength to all of them, video game style, and help them resist it long enough for the rest of the crew to drive it off. Vox Sola was actually a really good acting episode for Bakula and a really good acting episode for those crew members, but it wasn't a great episode to watch. Jerm, remember that one?
Yeah, it actually is a pretty good episode, especially for Bakula.
It's watchable if you regularly consume Star Trek on a 26 episode basis. Here's the biggest problem with this episode. We'll tell you right now. We'll elaborate it more. This episode was unearned. We're only on episode 3 and we're going pure comedy. I thought the puppets were going to appear. I was like, maybe we'll get the puppets out of the way.
Unfortunately, not.
Did you feel the puppets were en route?
Yeah, the second I started seeing the psychedelic effects, I thought they're going to all turn into puppets.
Scott Thompson was an alien who got drunk and Neelix had to babysit him. Okay, maybe I do remember that one. Admiral Teag, Sir Admiral Teag, snow skiing, if you know what I mean. Oh, I knows what you mean. Okay, so Dave Foley is on this planet where, by the way, there's no cell phone signal. That's the trope. It's like couples retreat or something. It's a tech-free zone. Now, I would point out that you can't go to a tech-free zone if you're a starship captain.
Yeah, that would be a little bit self-defeating about being in Starfleet if they can't reach you.
You're an asshole if you do this if you're a Starfleet captain and you weren't cut out for the service. You should retire, correct?
It should be against regulations.
He's out of comms and no one can get to him without being wasted unless they put on a spacesuit, which they have shown a hesitation to do. Also, at this point, it strikes me that in earlier Star Trek, they would have said, I'm going to inject us all with an inhibitor compound that will keep us from getting too wasted. Or, since we just saw Spider-Man, an inhibitor chip in your neck that will keep you from being too far out so that you can handle what's going on. And some people would lose their inhibitor to explain the uneven effects rather than it affects everyone differently. And turning your captain into like William Shatner as Janice Lester had more reason and did a much better job than what we saw here. This was terrible. Germ?
Yeah, it's kind of an ugly drunk look.
So Dave Foley shows up and he talks like this. It seemed like he was a refugee from some sort of Christmas movie. Was he an elf because he still had something of a career back then? Was he maybe channeling that? That is how Dave Foley's character talks. He talks exactly like Doug the Vulcan, really, but he has more vibrato in his voice. They don't understand how to get aliens to sound different. They don't understand that having the alien look different is enough. Like having aliens with crazy voice delivery seems to be their thing in this Star Trek. If you're an alien, you don't have a normal voice. That seems to be starting to get universal. Germ?
Yeah, it's like they told him, hey, just sound strange and you'll be alien enough.
Pike, by the way, starts pining away for food. And that's like the last clue we have on him. They wake up in their weird cosplay outfits that you saw. She's got like some sort of weird, I guess she's wearing Andorian dealy bobbers. Like it's a headband with like antennae on it, resemblant of an Andorian. And Scotty is wearing a Mugatu outfit. And Germ, did they make two Mugatu outfits or is that the Starfleet Academy one?
That may be the same one from Starfleet Academy, but something tells me that's something that the actor has in his own closet.
Or that Kurtzman wanted to keep to bring home. All right, so we see Scotty here in his terrible Mugatu outfit, and we are left to figure out what these two are up to as this terrible story proceeds forward, one terrible event at a time. This is like a roll and burn car wreck. We already explained this one to you. Germ, his look, his whole aesthetic. This might have been the highlight of the episode as far as a little bit of a break from how horrible it was, because I don't want to sound like I'm saying anything too positive, but Ethan Peck simply has talent. Is that by now something we're secure in saying? Ethan Peck simply has some talent. He can act.
Yeah, Ethan Peck is good at his job. He's just given a whole big pile of shit to work with.
He might smoke a great big joint before work, too.
At the very least.
All right, so here he is. He is absolutely just deadpan. He's normal Spock, and he goes, greetings. And they're like, Spock, we need your help. We're like this and that. And like they babble talk over each other. And it's just like The Fugitive. Alex Kurtzman does this all the time with his characters. He has to have them babble talk over each other. And what comes out is that Spock says that he would love to help them out. But as they can see, he is deeply intoxicated. At which point, Ortegas and Scotty look at each other and like Scotty's still kind of torn down from being drunk, but he's slowly pulling it back together. Scotty's level of intoxication changes from scene to scene as the plot needs. It's not consistent, but he's pretty lucid for a while now, and he's been lucid for a while. And he and Ortegas assess Spock as being fine. And Spock also had like the closest thing they had resembling futuristic clothing that I believed in for the first time ever in Strange New Worlds. Spock's future outfit here was one of the few successes by the design team from some other show, maybe?
I think they stole that from the Marriott.
So they agree to go and get some more information, try to find Captain Pike. He gives them directions. They've got this paper message for him. They still haven't put together yet that they have to really, locate their form of transportation because they're stranded. P.S. The shuttle's missing. Pike sees this hallucination of Kirk and carries on an ongoing conversation with it. This version of Pike talks to this supposed hallucination of Kirk for an extended period of time. They have just been there and have not seen Kirk. Kirk has not gone to greet them nor said hello. He's been within sight and they leave. So Spock goes back to talk to what he thinks is a hallucination of Kirk. And it's being played as though this Kirk hallucination is a bit coy and having fun with them, having fun with Spock. The hallucination is glib to Spock. And again, we've got a forced retro-futuristic 60s aesthetic that looks like the curtains left over in the Florida hotel my family took its Florida vacation on in the 1970s.
Hey, you know where they ripped off the hotel room from?
I stayed in that room.
I think we all stayed in that room on our family trip to Disney World.
With what Alex Kurtzman would call our hetero-abnormative parents, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what? We're not here to tell anyone how to live, but most marriages are just like one dude and one chick, and they have children together, and they go out and they try to live a life. This show, we don't know what the hell is going on. Relationships are between a man and now a statue, like Commander Patel turned into a statue. Pike's trying to get over that, but he's fine in this episode. There's no grief arc. He's like, is he going so far as to do his nails? It is weird. Uhura throws some kind of indoor hookah party. This is the same crew that just complained about being cooped up. Now all they want to do is stay indoors. I didn't get this one. And as I said, Pike is one of the most effective, speaking out of sync in a very womanly wine mom manner, behaving like a horse's ass. The show can't get away from him fast enough, but it lingers with him forever. He later acquires Mike Tyson-like face tattoos while he's intoxicated. And he talks like this. And it's just what the fuck was going on with Anson Mounts Pike when he was all affected and getting tattoos all over his body of text?
I think he just watched The Hangover and decided to start acting like Mike.
Did they try to add some kind of try to add some kind of effect there? I don't know. It was so weird. So Uhura throws a hookah party, and here's where Alex Kurtzman can relate. It's like, you guys aren't cool enough to come here. And, the captain, he said whatever he said. And this is where we get the worst moment of the episode, where Rebecca Romijn, my guess, is filmed elsewhere.
Yeah, this was filmed way after the fact.
Maybe at any bar with like 2 PAs with some stuff from props.
Probably.
Maybe at a bar near her home. This was one of the episode's most disturbing and boring moments. She sings Total Eclipse of the Heart. By the way, the Sci-Fi CSIs are now going to reopen the case of Bonnie Tyler to see if embarrassment was a comorbidity to this. Had she found out about this before she passed? Kurtzman, you better have your alibi. We can only hope not. Can only hope not.
The only problem I think she'd have with it is the royalties didn't go through.
Dead Man saw better than we did. It's a callback to Shran. One antenna is cut off. I didn't know that. Decent research by someone. They have one person who kind of like watched some Star Trek on there. Ortegas and Scotty are stuck in the main limited imaginative construct, the intoxicating planet. The stakes appear to be little more than them remaining on the planet a little bit longer. They experience a Star Trek version of The Hangover, but it is so poorly done, it comes off and hits like an after-school special about intoxicants. Germ, am I right?
I've seen after-school specials done better than this.
Well, it lacked the morality. It didn't have clear morality. This was not as good as, like, Mom and Dad have stuff in bottles of colored. Mom and Dad have colored liquids in bottles that you shouldn't drink. See you later, friends. You know what I mean? Till next time.
Yeah, that would have been a little bit more entertaining.
Don't take the stuff out of the medicine cabinet unless you're supposed to in front of you, and make sure your parents are there. Like normal stuff. No, this hit like a PSA, but like from without a moral high ground, a directionless PSA, and like it only felt like a PSA because it was so flat. They were trying to glamorize drugs. If anything, if you were thinking about drugs, this would be a scared straight. I would never want to be like any of these people. And if I had seen this episode 2 decades ago, I might have tens of thousands of dollars more in cash. How about you?
Yeah, about that much.
Yeah, crazy. All right. So it hits like an after-school special about intoxicants minus the morality. Large amounts of synthetic fur and dried fluid evidence are recovered. The Megatu costume from Starfleet Academy is reused. Approximately at the 19-minute mark, the narrative briefly recalls its own rules and is still stuck in its own Act 1 with no clear dramatic purpose. Scotty thereafter cycles irregularly between intoxication and relative sobriety. No explanation is given why some people spontaneously come clear while the atmosphere remains unchanged. They could have had open and closed windows, more or less ventilated places. They could have had some faulty breathing apparatus that only let some stuff through and come through places where it was denser. They could have had a limited amount of antidote. They could have had any of that. Nothing. Just the power level of the intoxicant goes up and down with no controlling, like no thought given to story modulation or story believability whatsoever.
Right. The least they could have done was keep putting a drink in Scotty's hand.
He didn't keep drinking, but he does get more drunk and then less drunk. It seems like these two have come clear from the planet for no reason. And when we find out later what they're up to, there's still no reason, so don't worry. A political negotiation sequence between boring aliens that were derived from the Star Trek Beyond aliens, weren't they? Different flesh tone, but they were Balthazar Edison's altered form from Star Trek Beyond. And it's incoherent and it lacked all tension. The alien negotiation thing, like they really didn't care, so I didn't either. That's a problem for this crew. Then we had an extended low information disclosure conversation occurring, described in 15 painful minutes that I could only call feelings in Jeffrey's tubes if we had the money to have that actual prop. They go to a shuttle to fix it or something like that as they tech their way through this. There's multiple failed rug pulls near the end. The major reveal is that Kirk actually was present the whole time and not a hallucination. This Kirk is an easily amused idiot who spent the time just watching Spock trip. Ortegas delivers the lines, "I just wanted to see something get hard for someone other than me," to which I say, maybe Melissa Navia, yes, but Ortegas, no, never. Germ.
Agreed.
What they do to her hair alone. Comic scene of intoxicated shovel operations by tattooed Pike. Not funny. Glamorizing and minimizing drunk driving. Poor social messaging. Terminal sequence. Pike asks Mabanga to scrape off the face tattoos. The doctor replies by juggling bottles and making more drinks. Everyone laughs. The crew returns to the ship solely to continue drinking hair of the dog and recover from the bar trip. The most unhappy, divided, persistently intoxicated compliment on the Starfleet record. Ortegas and Scotty put aside their differences solely because they got wasted together. The new Trek definition of friendship without sex. They play dress up and act like assholes together. Bonnie Tyler's total eclipse of the heart is butchered and ritualized twice. There's 2 montages in this episode. Narrative dissolves any remaining cohesion or causes an effect. It dispenses of it at the 19-minute mark where it gives up completely. Dramatic stakes after the first few minutes. The story ends without true resolution of life having existed in the first place. They don't buy back the episode, but everyone just moves on without caring about this, and Pike no longer has tattoos. And this episode was a cavalcade of dumb. We'll show you some more of the photographic evidence as we go along here. There's Mabanga in his bartender outfit. None of this made sense to me. Jerm, what was your thought process? Did you recognize Dave Foley?
Eventually, and I felt sorry for him.
You know what I went and did? What did Dave Foley do wrong was my Google, and I got the story about how he fought Paramount for months to keep the Cancer Boy character in the Kids in the Hall movie, which ends them. They might have survived an unfunny movie, but not with that character. So there's the murderer dressed up in his cocktail-like shirt. He's even dressed like the character from Cocktail. When they do like fraudulent bullshit, they go all in.
Yeah. Hey, he'll be great on the remake of The Love Boat as the bartender.
I was thinking Isaac Hardcore too. So he kind of directs him to like what to do. He's like a sage like bartender. He directs him to Captain Puke, who's doing this. Sirs, madams, I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. Your devices are not malfunctioning. He's getting a tattoo of a horse, the kind that a 17-year-old ill-advisedly gets if they get their hands on their parents' credit card and find an unscrupulous tattoo artist. Germ, the hell? This wasn't even a cool tattooing effect.
Yeah, that looks ridiculously bad.
It's like, I guess, like an airbrush paint guy from a carnival that they hired to do it. That's about the level of quality. I learned it from watching you. Yes. Yeah, like that old PSA. Yeah, why did you learn to inhale the atmosphere on this planet? And guys, if you got a membership, do me a favor. Spam a couple emojis. Keep the chat going. And you know what? Do we have any new people here that maybe I might have missed when I was checking on our fans? Let's see if anyone stumbled in. We still got a pretty small, intimate group here, but you know what? There'll be more people installed on Thursday. This might be a good one to unlist later and edit a little more.
Yeah, we can get a good short little video out of this.
Rather than leaving it up. Yeah, all right. I don't know about this one. This episode was definitely their stupidest. And as we can see, Pike is getting a tattoo. That's Pike. All right. So as they cut away, here he is, acting really effeminate and talking like a chick. That's the only way to put it. I don't know how to say it.
He's doing his Kurtzman
movie
impression.
Yeah, I think it might have been. I felt that way too. Tell me why you felt that way.
Well, he doesn't like Kurtzman. That is obvious by this point through his various media appearances, and I think him and pretty much the rest of the cast is at the point where they're going to get every dig they can at him.
Yeah,
This
so
is the perfect
everybody
episode to
now
do it.
is free of most of their NDAs because the show went so long. It wasn't so well crafted that they anticipated itself renewing. Future casts will have to endure 7 more years of silence, but his NDA might be over. He's on this before anyone else, so he's allowed to be more disdainful. His agreements might be older. He was like one of the first people. He's a Strange New Worlds cast member before he was ever a Star Trek Discovery. I'm sorry, he's a Star Trek Discovery cast member before he was ever a Strange New Worlds cast member.
Well, that and he's a veteran actor. He knows how to behave in ways that doesn't violate an NDA but gets his message across.
So they give him his written message, and it's about the negotiations with this low effort alien race that we'll see soon. This alien species is very reminiscent of Star Trek Beyond, and he's reading like a little girl reads a note passed to him at school. And I guess he's channeling his daughter and doing Kurtzman imitation at the same time in a scary cross imitation with like contempt and low regard. This is really low regard.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be here anymore, and I can't blame him.
Yeah, I, as an audience member, did not feel disrespected. I didn't think he had a choice.
No, none of them have a choice at this point.
No, really not. All right, so he reads the written note because it's a tech-free zone. He's a Starfleet captain who doesn't give a shit. I mean, why not just beam it down closer to him, or beam someone down in like with like a respirator close to him? I don't know. But Spock is meditating, trying to get over the fact that he's tripping and seeing Kirk. But they track him down and they say, look, we don't know where our shuttlecraft is. We've got to get off of this planet so that the captain can recover, so he can negotiate with these stupid ass aliens. And we need your help because you're pretty clear and you're unaffected. And he's like, I'll try despite my obvious intoxication. And his comic timing was good enough for even that dad level Kurtzman joke to be kind of the only like slight amusement that was wrong out of this episode was from Ethan Peck, correct?
Yeah, he came off like he was
still twitching. Not quite
a
dead.
little
career is still
twitchy.
Twitching. The career is twitching.
Yeah.
Trying to come back to life.
He came off like someone very serious trying to get a blowjob. He's working on
the term fellatio, but okay.
It was very weird the way he came off.
He came off smarmy would be a good way of putting it, I guess. There was a weird underpowered low would weird low energy sex drive vibe be a way to describe what's going on with Spock?
Yeah, a little bit.
There's a weird low energy sex drive vibe going on with Spock. But they say, look, we're going to go to their control room. We're going to take a look at their controls. We're going to find out where they took our shuttle. We're going to find it. We're going to leave. And they go there, and there doesn't seem to be any tech because they can't afford props. And Spock walks over to a plant, and they say, it's a plant. And he goes, it's a photogenic computer. I didn't think it was possible. And they're like, now they're thinking, okay, maybe he is high. But he sits down, and he grabs the fronds of the plant's leaves, and they play a little effect. It's cheap as shit. But for whatever reason, the way he grabs it and the effect, this is when I giggled a little. And he goes, my mind to your mind, my mind to your leaves, stems, and root system. We are one. And he mind melds with the plant. I was so angry, I just punched my microphone. That was actually a clearly unintended gesture. I apologize. It was he mind melds with the plant, and just to show us that we're the real idiots, he starts to trip out a little bit, and it turns out that the plant is some kind of a computer that knows where this thing is. Germ, what the fuck?
I got nothing.
What did you think of the whole him tripping out with this scenario with the plant?
That I just gave up at that point and popped another pain pill.
Don't talk about that too much on the air, but I understand.
Well, you got to take pain pills if you have bad headaches.
Yeah, good enough point. It was that bad, huh? Yeah, this was, guys, this was a headache inducing and really bad episode. I didn't get this picture in the montage, so I want you to see it. There's Spock in the middle of the mind meld, and I've gotten a transmission from the planet. It's not clear yet. It's starting to resolve here on screen. I think that one of our CSIs has just returned from the scene. We have gathered more evidence in this quick unfolding story of just complete storytelling negligence on the final frontier. Okay, we're seeing, okay, the signal is there now. I believe we're going to see someone beaming themselves onto the bridge very shortly. And I think we should linger here and say we saw Spock mind meld with a plant.
Yeah, it's just.
All right. I've
it's
locked
stupid.
on.
Ooh.
How long we wait to do that? It doesn't work out. Do you like my hat?
What is this? Oh, a CSI hat. Hey guys.
I'm gonna get
Hey,
a plastic coat next week.
Hi, Germ.
Hello, Sean. Sir, welcome to the show. Fresh from the scene. We just had to power wash Sean off. It took a minute. He had a lot of Andorian bodily fluids on him. So we addressed the fact that they're furries.
Furries. I'd rather it be tribbles.
If only there had been tribbles in this episode. Although, when we
There
see
were.
what they've done with tribbles, the attack, there were?
Yeah, there was a tribble crawling around.
Oh, that's right.
There was
remember the.
Well, it was a space gerbil.
They find their shuttle when Spock mind melds with the plant. This is when my brain collapsed. How about you?
My mind to your leaves, my thoughts to your root system. I don't know why I remember that.
You texted me at like 2 in the morning to tell me that, and I almost had to breathe into a paper bag for a couple. My neighbors must have thought I was quite mad, actually.
I had to turn that shit off, man. This took
I couldn't
3
watch
views.
it all in one sitting. Yeah, it took 3 short 20-minute clips.
Yeah, so where are we?
We are
I haven't been
close
I haven't
to
been
the
able
end
to
of
listen
the
to the
chain
show.
of events. We're pretty close to the chain of events, and we're getting ready to give the final coroner's report, and then we can talk freely about it for a few minutes. So far, we have covered a lot of this episode, and we have had a pretty good slideshow from the crime scene. We want to thank JT for the crime scene photography. He is with Starfleet counselors from Division 12 being debriefed and getting PTSD counseling from taking the pictures. We talked about how the Ortegas in this version of Scotty hate each other. The cheap hallucinatory plugins that hit them when they go to this planet. This is a planet where we talked about this briefly. We won't recap all the events, but the planet has a hallucinatory atmosphere and they know it. We see formerly funny kid in the hall, Dave Foley, a broken shell of a man. It really hurt to see him like this. It really, really did. He was unfunny. It was forced. He looked embarrassed. He couldn't act well enough to hide the embarrassment.
They all looked embarrassed in this episode. Like poor
Pike looked
Anson
pissed
now.
and embarrassed.
Poor Anson. You can see him. He's like
being cocked hard.
He's like, oh my God, I got face tattoos.
They were getting even with him for having any agency in episode 1. He's been punished heavily in episodes 2 and 3 for this show. So we talked about how the atmosphere of this planet intoxicates you. No one brings along a respirator that just like stays around your neck that you can put on and off in case you get too nuts, like cloud minders. No one gets an injection of some sort of compound that'll limit its effects. No one brings along some sort of inhibitor chip that can adjust or lose to get more affected or less affected. They leave out the obvious technical components and like future medicine stuff that they put into sci-fi shows like this, where we see Dr. McCoy, giving Captain Kirk the Triox compound when he fights Spock in Amok Time, and other sci-fi things like that. There was none of that. They didn't take advantage of any of that. Don't you think we should have had some means for our heroes here to regulate the compound rather than Ortegas and Scotty randomly come clear? Why? Couldn't they be the ones who recovered their respirators and had some cause and effect? This episode abandoned cause and effect after they said, we're stressed out from going from bar to bar. We need to go to a bar.
I don't even know where to begin with this. This entire episode, I don't know whether to vomit or be pissed, or be pissed and vomit.
Give vent to your feeling.
I'll rant later, but I want to it sucks JT's not here because I know he would be so pissed at this. I know he would. Has he seen it?
He did, I think, mention in group chat seeing it. I spent a lot of time putting together the slideshow, and I had to watch this thing repeatedly, and boy, was it horrible. Boy, I mean, pity the man who watched this 4 times. And as Germ said, I still the chain of events in this episode. I am completely dependent upon my notes. What do you think of Bartender Murderer?
Oh, that ending scene when it's clearly not him throwing, and then it just cuts to him catching a bottle. It was the worst ending.
He has a little bit of physical acting skills. He shows off as the bartender on the planet because we can see it's not a cutaway, but it's not
a little. But then at the end, it's like clear, whatever. It's not him. It was so bad. Oh, and then he did the it's green joke. They threw the it's green.
In a worthier episode, I would have been okay with that. But this episode, we're doing comedy in episode what? Episode 3 of our 8 to 10 episode season. I hope it's 8.
I think it's probably 30 or 40% of their episodes are comedy centric.
And one way or another, we buy back the effects of what happened during our episode too. It's always, it didn't really happen. I'm getting very tired of that. That is extremely boring and frustrating.
It's so stupid. Yeah. Did you guys notice? I texted you, Teag, but Germ, I don't know if you know, this episode had 3 bullshit endings.
The Return of the King episode.
Yes, there were 3.
I didn't notice that.
At the end.
So
yeah, I don't think he went to the end. I think Germ quit after a fake episode. He got faked out by Fake Out episode 2.
Well, when I say
they
bullshit
fake you
ending,
out.
Yeah, when I say bullshit ending, I've referred to
these are Alex Kurtzman. Alex Kurtzman couldn't come up with true rug pulls, so what he does is he makes up for not being able to end any story by ending this one over and over. This one hard ends, and you look at the episode progress bar, and you're like, why is there 15 whole minutes left? What the hell are they going to do for at least 10 of those?
Yeah, I turned it off.
Credit segment.
I turned it off. I thought it was over, and then I'm like, wait a minute, there was a big chunk of the timeline left. But
that's what clued me in. Yeah, I went to stop it. I'm like, all right, I don't need to hear the theme song. And I was like, wait a minute, why is this thing only 75% of the way across the screen? And then the episode throttles down at the end of the middle. And this would be your de facto act 2. We stumble through an endless act 1. The teaser melds into an endless bumbling act 1. The teaser is we need shore leave. P.S. We left this crew in a bar last week. This week, we need to go to a bar. How bad do we need to go? At the bar on the ship, we're having an argument like people who spend too much time in bars have. I'm starting to think that everyone who writes this show just not only doesn't understand drinking and doesn't understand lighthearted glorification of drinking, which is something even we'll do.
Oh, they mixed marijuana and mushrooms and they mixed everything.
Yeah, this was hardcore glorification of drugs that turned into an accidental PSA. This reminds me of, we all know a few couples like this. Anybody have friends who in college partied like way too hard and their kids ended up being like super straight and not wanting anything to do with drugs or intoxicants, right? That's what I noticed. Like this episode is accidentally a PSA. And by the way, they will try to sell this episode as a PSA to different schools and get teachers fired, because this is Alex Kurtzman's plan if he can keep the rights. So we're suffering through this for the kids. We're doing this for the kids. We're taking this one for the kids.
I was surprised that at the end of it, we didn't see Anson Mount go, now in today's episode, we experienced a planet that had hallucinogens and a lot of alcohol. It's important to understand to limit these kind of activities, to be responsible and to do everything in moderation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it should have had the fucking He-Man ending.
I feel like really a reverse He-Man ending. It would have been like, Alex Kurtzman here for Starframe's New World. We are putting this planet for one reason and one reason only: the fucking chase cynical pleasure. I mean, like,
and
the weirdest shit.
They even threw in a bunch of times, experience my journey and live my best life. They threw in that fucking Gen Z bullshit. And just real quick,
when I was small, he wants his money.
When I was talking about the bullshit endings, it's what Seth MacFarlane refers to as a bullshit ending. So like you have a sitcom, and at the end there's like the bullshit happy ending, and that's what I mean.
You know it can't be over because you look at your watch. With this one, it works a little better because it's a streaming show, but then you go to turn it off, and instead of feeling faked out, you're angry because on TV when the show proceeds, and also
Admiral
this show
Teag,
had a complete and total lack of in-world music. And whoa, the Dead Man with incredible generosity here. You know what, sir? That is so generous that while I gather my thoughts, I think that you have earned, oh my God, I don't have control. Sean, please play the Sir montage while I leave and come back so I can thank the Dead Man properly and highlight his chat. I shall return.
Okay, let me see if I can find the Sir montage.
I'll be right back.
Okay, Control F, Sir.
Sir, we land on the moon to go to Mars, and that's what we're doing with the moon. Sir.
All right. Thank you to Dead Man 79 for $10. Here, let me put it up so Admiral Teag can read it.
Sean and I have like redundant control, so like we're both trying to do the right thing. So sometimes we overproduce. But you know what, Sean? I'll give you first shot from now on. I'm going to count an extra Mississippi, which means they had the plot point where Uhura was concerned about the greeting, and she took the tricorder. I thought Uhura was going to save the day for Pike. They dropped it. Yeah, there was more. The AI gave them more than they could use. They went to work doing their usual plot bloating, and I just don't think that Anson Mount was available or amenable. There's a word for you. He was not available nor amenable enough to do this effing show. He wanted nothing to do with it, and the Dead Man, that is really very much appreciated. And as I said earlier, you deserve some of our shows. Fine media. First of all, we have Space Maury Povich. It's Spock Prime. He's going to give us how New Jack, the son of Picard, came to be.
She was attacked by what appears to be essentially a robot.
We need to get the screenshot of Anson Mount in that interview that you talked about, and he's just like doing this.
Oh, so beaten and destroyed. Yeah. Let me see if I can find that really quick.
I was pissed off. That. Like, Germ, were you mad watching this one?
I'm sure I would have been if I hadn't taken certain measures.
So you immunized yourself.
Yes. Dr. Mambanga is very liberal with the prescription pad.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay up late and watch this, and I'm like, it's 3:30. Why am I wasting my good sleep time watching this garbage?
Yeah, we were texting back and forth, and I'm like, the episode just dropped. Like, I might just watch it. And he's like, don't bother. You're out of your mind. It's stupider than ever. It's like the question of that it's the worst episode is opened up again. Then this morning when I woke up, I had coffee and I turned this on, and I've spent my day with this piece of shit. I would have rather have had your day, even though I know it wasn't enviable. I honestly, like, you have a feeling of accomplishment. All we did was like, like, honestly, we don't know the virility with Starfleet Academy. There'll probably be some back. Strange New Worlds, who knows? It could go viral again next week. We love that you guys are here enjoying this with us. And you know what? I'll kick Alex Kurtzman-Molly's down because
the word decent doesn't apply to me.
But here we go. This one is for the dead man and for Sean.
Sir, we've decided not to move the United States. Okay. Sir, we land on the moon to go to Mars, and that's what we're doing with the moon.
Sir, we don't want money.
Sir, we're looking for land. Sir, steam is better. Sir, steam is better.
Sir, honestly, the dogs are better.
Sir, I have the man. Sir, my name is Raisin. $1 billion, sir. $1.1 billion, sir.
Sir, he has a cold. Don't shake his head.
Sir. Sir.
Sean dipped and reappeared.
This
sir.
Ashes on me.
Yeah, you know what? StreamYard's itself unstable, and you know what? If your Wi-Fi signal spikes and drops, you can get like thrown. Like,
well, I'm not on a Wi-Fi. I've got this bastard plugged right into my router.
Let me rephrase that. If your provider signal spikes and drops, even though you're in the router, you will get thrown off the air. And urban areas not immune. It's like, it doesn't matter where you live in this country. We found a way to democratize bad internet and bring us all together in our shared experience. Hey, Kznar, it's good to see you, buddy. Oh, God, we got the Muppets to look forward to. We really thought this episode was going so batshit for so long, Kznar, that we honestly thought that the Muppet thing wasn't going to happen. It's good to see you. Let's see. For a show which is supposed to pump out equality, why was a comment from Oregano to Scotty, for Ortegas to Scotty, made six brothers that place must have smelled nice? Imagine the other way around. Hypocrisy. Yeah, it would have smelled like cheap perfume and jockstrap sweat with Ortegas there after she
rusty pennies
transitioned. You know what? I thought that this was one of the worst episodes, and I don't know what. Then Scotty mentions that like some of his family was adopted, and it was like a needless detail. And then there was something weird said that after speaking of adoption, what he said next, like, sort of seemed like the adopted kids and the natural kids were treated completely different. And as though that was the way to do it. It was like, who are you adopted by? Fucking Madonna? Fucking weirdo. It's like, yeah, sometimes me and Lourdes like to, fucking raid mom's panty drawer and get high. There's like stuff in there still.
Well, they did the reverse. Angelina Jolie, and he was adopted by an Ethiopian family.
Yes, you know what? By the way, they did use a couple of instruments a couple of times in this episode. Lieutenant Oregano is pretty funny. I feel so bad for Melissa Navia. Her hair must be almost back to normal. It's about 20 weeks now since she got to leave the set at the end of February. So
it's probably at least she could probably at least do a pixie cut now. But it's funny, like she actually wasn't bad in the episode. Like her performance was okay, and so was the guy that does Scotty. I don't know his name.
I always have to admire the fact that she's not forced to break character, doesn't like nails it, stays believable as the character that takes the designed, which is not a good character or an easy character to play or an easy character to like. And they have set this show up as
She's
the rebel
good.
hero, Han Solo of this show.
It's
she's
too
a
bad.
fucking asshole. And like the actress is likable and has skill. They have derailed.
She would be good in
actor's career.
She would be good in a legit Trek series. Like she would be able to pull it off.
Of her endorsing Trump or some other Republican in the California election. That's like they hired her just to ruin her career. This is some of the worst career assassination I've ever seen. Having her play a character this unlikable.
Like she made it as tolerable as it could be. You know, her and Scotty, like they played off each other well. She delivers her lines well. You know, her emotions, you know, she sells it. Like, but I mean, I hate the plot, but I mean, like, she's good.
Even this terrible plot lets some of what she has to offer come through.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to, like, honestly, I'm going to watch any show she's in after this, just to support her as an actress. Cause I feel like she got so much damage. This is the only new Trek person who on a cruise I'd go up to and be like, I don't know how
I'd
to
hang out with
Anson
Mount. He seems like a cool dude.
Seems like he'd be okay, and he wouldn't get loud with you if you disagreed with him. He would disagree with you and he would push back, but he wouldn't be a dick. Maybe like he would get animated, but he wouldn't be a total dick. Like there's redeeming things about Anson Mount on X. There's redeeming things. Melissa Navia is nothing but nice on X. She seems like the nicest person we have taken to be basically supporters of her because we feel so bad for her. Jerem, what do you think? Did they find her on a list of Hollywood Republicans? Is she like on that list that Major League Baseball has of Barry Bonds, Rafael Palmeiro, and Alex Rodriguez doing steroids from like the late 90s?
Oh, Clemens is too.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
She may have not started out there, but she's there now.
So this episode takes 20 minutes to get going. Then the middle is just a series of weirdness where Kirk Kirk's Force Ghost talks to Spock, and it's kind of profound for Spock, who's having an out-of-body experience. Then they find the shuttle by Spock mind melding with the plant. For some reason, it works. The fact that they had a photosynthetic machine was a little retarded, but this planet has a unique atmosphere and a unique sun. Some dialogue away from the episode's one stranded, slightly interesting, but undercooked and stupid idea that most good writers were thrown out. I'm not saying it was good. I'm saying with a little work, it could have been like, we could have discussed it a little bit. They could have elevated it to being worth discussing. But this was just like, oh, it's a machine. It's a plan. I just have to grab the leaves. My mind to your mind. What did he say again, Sean? My
mind to your leaves. My thoughts to your root system.
I think you remember it because you texted it to me. It was fucking hilarious. Like, these are the texts that you get at 2 a.m. from your friends when you work on this show, or 3 a.m.
You know what? I would have called you
anyway.
I would have called you, but we'd still be on the phone.
That's the phone call would have lasted until the show. Sometimes we have to put our opinions aside. The crew returns to the ship solely to continue. By the way, okay, let me go through the sequence of events. By the way, really quickly, Sean, your thought. Lieutenant Uhura just has a hookah party where she gets stoned in spite of the fact that the planet makes you fucked up anyway.
I wanted her to be thrown out of an airlock. Like, here's two lieutenants. Two lieutenants come to her saying, "We need your tricorder." She's like, "Yeah, no." Like, I'm like, I gave you a fucking order. You fucking. She's like, "No, This
is where you needed to have a respirator where you grab her and stick it on her face for a minute while you hold your breath, and you start to lose it, and she gets it. And you know what? Like, she starts to get it, and you go passing the mask back and forth while one person, like Spock, stays relatively loose, and he's like, "You're understanding now some of what I am saying because you are deriving oxygen. However, Lieutenant Ortegas needs a breath. I suggest you hold your breath until the mask can be returned." And then Ortegas takes a breath and passes the mask back. And he's like, "Are you continuing to comprehend? You may now breathe." You know what?
Well, they were doing the reverse of They were doing a reverse of passing the blunt around.
They really were, but they could have done it in a way where they were passing around what they needed to be able to understand. Some form of them being able to control this would have made this episode function on at least a second level, giving them some agency instead of they drift around high. This episode's experience of watching was a lot like babysitting your friend when he takes too many shrooms.
Yep.
So after the multiple rug pulls near the end, one of them is that the episode isn't over. By the way, we recover our shuttlecraft and we leave the world's most boring version of Rise. And this planet sucks. Okay? Sean, before we leave, I have to ask you about this. What did you think of Captain Pike being the most affected, whereas Archer would have shook this off until he got back to the shuttle and flown back to the... He would have repressurized the shuttle, gone back to the ship and organized an encounter suit rescue, and
he would have fought
everyone on that... And he would have taken everyone on that planet with him and forced them to sober up before they said they wanted to go back.
Yep.
You had inhibited decision-making for like 2 years. You're going to
then
spend a couple of days on the Enterprise, you know?
Completely fucks up the contact with those delegates. Just completely fucks it up.
How did life arise on this planet when everyone's wasted all the time? Did
Right.
colonizers stay there? I mean, we don't get any context at all. A real Star Trek episode, a bunch of, Bajorans went there like 25 years ago for the intoxicating properties. It nerfs their empathy so that they don't have to feel each other's feelings. They don't like being empaths.
Their only accomplishment,
any reason.
Their only accomplishment would have been building about 100,000 Taco Bells. That would have been
should have been Taco Bell for.
Yeah, and that's one of the only food. Yeah,
one of the most. Yeah, this was the Demolition Man planet. So instead, Archer fights us off. Kirk fights us off. I think even Janeway, when we see the bridge, like, have you ever noticed that on Voyager when they get attacked by some weapon that overwhelms people? The last 3 people down are B'Elanna goes down like, and then kind of holding hands together and resolutely is Chakotay and the captain together. Like, she's as tough as he is. To make her believable and to make him not seem like a loser. You know what I mean? Like, it was like more thought went into Voyager every week. And we've got some really undercooked Voyager episodes. We thought the Voyager episode, The Thaw with Michael McKean, figured into this one. I don't know what you think about that. The freeform discussion is yet to come. That's the one where he is a clown representing AI existence in that weird episode. Michael McKean from Laverne and Shirley in the X-Files.
Oh, God.
All right, so Ortegas and Scotty. Okay, go ahead. Finish your comment.
No, that Voyager episode was almost like the what's that DS9 episode that everyone hates?
Which one?
The Mark plays it all the time. The
one with the sing and dance under the pale.
Yeah. There's like,
the title was,
the Marine or whatever, whatever that stupid
and
thing
Kira
is.
sings Fever.
Yeah.
Not a Visitor was hot, but come on. So Uhura throws the indoor hookah party.
I want a threesome with Nana Visitor and Ortegas. She's
Why
grown
not?
on me.
Ortegas is earning it.
She's pretty.
She is pretty. I just wish the show would let her be pretty. We're looking forward to her next role. We will do a 1-episode review of whatever show she does next if we can get our hands on it. Extended low information, emotional disclosure conversation occurs, described as 15 painful minutes of feelings in Jeffrey tubes using early 21st century set pieces and retest props rather than a period appropriate Jeffrey tubes or anything even approaching a Jeffrey's tube. We go to the shuttle because we have some of that prop and we fix the shuttlecraft. And of course, Erica's is fantastic at fixing stuff as Scotty. And we flirty fight through this one. Multiple failed rug pulls. Major reveal is that Kirk actually was present the whole time and not a hallucination. So how come no one else saw him? How come he doesn't say hello to anyone else?
Why didn't Spock know he was on board? Why didn't Spock know he was on board?
Yeah, he's second in command of this ship. Comic scene of intoxicated shuttle operations with tattooed Pike encourages drunk driving and is the opposite of what Star Trek is supposed to be about. However, their attempt to glamorize drugs was so poorly done that it did not do anything but make you want to stay away from drugs. The narrative dissolves any remaining cohesion. Cause and effect, dramatic stakes are gone after the first few minutes. And the episode really is just absolutely batshit at the end there. There are an alien species who look really, really weird and just aren't cool looking in the least. I'll get the video back for you so you can see them. And they are really low effort. And Sean, my thought was that they were built off the aliens from Star Trek Beyond. They look like they look a little bit like Kang. Is that his name when he's an alien?
Yeah, they had cool eyes. I did like their eyes. It was good makeup. But yeah, they look like the chick from Beyond.
Yeah. Well, they look
just without the Darth Maul motif.
That was the people from the planet. I'm talking about the delegates from the other planet. You're right. There's 2 Star Trek Beyond reuses in this. The people from the people on the original planet where Dave Foley is, they have all the head tattoos and weird stuff. Like the chick from Star Trek Beyond had. Good catch.
She almost was that the same actress that was in this episode, maybe? Looked really
that was not her. Like her. The only person that might have been her is the shuttle lot operator. That woman with the long face, that weird lesbian who just laughs and has no other lines. Part of the show's meta seems to be to hire every lesbian comedian that they can find. I guess that's what Alex Kurtzman does. He goes to gay comedy clubs every night, which used to be a lot more fun, I guess, considering that Stop That Train was fucking hilarious. And
did you watch it?
Absolute trash. No, but I mean, everyone's endorsing it left and right, and I'm going to watch it for next week
on
for
Prime,
Lance's show.
Yeah, it's great. It's right.
Here we have their PSA to go to their planet, which was the TAS. Here we have the aliens Sean's talking about. These are the first aliens. Dave Foley has some sort of weird.
Oh no, I was talking about the delegates that are on the ship. All
right. Well, Dave Foley has the tattoos on his face like the female that they find living on the NX-01 type ship has, though. You made that happen in my mind when you reminded, like you stirred that thought. So hey, like 3 heads are better than 2. Like we got some real synergy. You have a full ship's complement now. Where's JT? We'll go an extra hour if he shows up the timestamps just to save his wife and his therapist the trouble of listening to it. We're talking professional burnout for a therapist who deals with significant amount of suburban Detroit. So Dave Foley's weird alien feet here. I'm surprised they thought of them. They weren't good enough, and they didn't move really. I don't think.
Here we are with more fucking feet.
Feet. There's so much foot fetishizing in this show. So Dave Foley is talking, and he has this voice that he's forced to do that he's not fit for cartoons and does not help him with future voice work. He's never working again. This was pure desperation. Dave Foley must have some bad secrets around Hollywood about him or just shows up wasted. Here's the bad plug-in that happened. We showed people that earlier. The Brady Bunch dream sequences were more involved in this. So who are just tripping out here? The Mugatu suit from Starfleet Academy. Did these characters have sex or are they just furry weirdos together?
I don't know. She's wearing that Andorian tiara or whatever the hell that is.
I thought this was the one futuristic thing Spock's outfit. Not so terrible. Like it didn't take me out of the narrative. I was like, wow, it's weird. I saw something that didn't throw me out of the show. Like it stood out for its appropriateness. It wasn't great. I'm not saying like, wow, I want one, but it's not that different from what Kirk has in
you can tell this
Star Trek 3.
This is a pickup shot. Look how short his hair is.
He might be wearing the wig. He might be wearing the full wig. We saw in the pickup shots, sometimes he tries to just push his full hair down because we see 1 or 2 gray hairs because Ethan Peck now like 36 or something. So he's getting 1 or 2, Gregory Peck from, I believe, Kerry, Ireland by lineage. So, known for going gray young. So Ethan Peck, Kznar says, I'm sorry, lads. I'm fighting sleep, and it's almost 5 a.m. I will love you and leave you. Great to see you. Until next time, take care, everyone. Kznar, we'll have some great jokes for you if you want to catch the second half of this later. And for all coming through later, on behalf of Kznar, who we salute, sir, we ask you for your likes and for your shares and for your karma. And, if you want to give karma to the uploaded, edited videos of this, we love that too, because that's the direction this one's kind of more or less headed in. And we're going to put your comments up on screen so we can keep tracking them. All right.
Good night, Kznar.
Good night, Kznar. Spock's outfit, oddly appropriate here. I mean, it looks more appropriate for an Earth show about like the late 21st century, but it didn't throw me out of this. It looked like BSG 2.0 garb or something.
Are they in like a college dorm or something? Like they have doors that you knock on, and there's like a
manual doors everywhere in this Star Trek. They don't have the money for stagehands to open them.
They're tech free, right? Except when they need
it. Is tech free. Yeah,
they're tech free except when they need it for the plot. Yeah.
I think one of the things we saw was an empty keg of beer. They found a way to write that off. This must have been a blast for the extended party. Alex Kurtzman, immature and stuck in his second year of college where he almost failed out from doing too much drugs, in this reviewer's opinion, always throws back to stuff that's just so juvenile. He's not your new generation of fans is not scaling up in age. They do not exist. They never showed up. It's been 18 years. You missed the whole generation. There's going to have to be some serious addressing of older fans to get any sort of real viewing for Star Trek after this. You have cored out.
You need to get the older fans to get into it and make it cool enough for them to pull their grandkids in, say, hey, Johnny, sit down and watch this.
They finally got this right. This is like what I remember. This was smart stuff. Uhura's hot, but like we didn't care. We're going to reopen the Bonnie Tyler case to see if embarrassment was a comorbidity, because they sing Total Eclipse of the Heart and like Rebecca Romanian.
I did catch you saying that to Germ earlier.
This was one of the dumbest parts of the entire series. Then,
this whole episode was dumb.
We didn't like Cocktail Mabanga throwing the bottles through the air and missing most of them.
Oh, look at that. Look at that pen, that screenshot you have right there. That's an LED strip.
From modeling what that is.
Yes.
They work the same craft stuff that you do. Guys, this is where Sean's expertise comes in. We are Star Trek reviewers. Bring more to bring everything we got to the table. Sean, go ahead. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm trying to find an image of it because they come in. That's what I use to light my fucking models. Here.
Present an image of it if you can find one.
No,
and we'll share it with our audience so they can see side by side. Maybe we can put it up on screen. That would be fantabulous. Here we go over to our side. Now, Spock needs to be bigger. Spock! We can go one, then the other for you guys. I think you'll like this.
There it is. Oh, God.
And so that comes out, and this goes in.
Yeah,
here's
so you
the
can
LED
see here.
Strip.
So there, this little line here, that's the cutoff. So you have 1, 2, 3. It's just, and they're broken up. It's sets of 3. And that's what I use to light my fucking models.
Oh, IKEA gives you that now with your furniture to make it fun. Like you throw it in like a drawer, and that drawer like glows.
Well, these little bits here. These are where you can snip it, so you can make little smaller groups of lights, and that's what that is that you're looking at. And so they can section them off. Some LED strips are just really long, and they're just
look at that. The spacing's even the same as it is where you have them. They didn't space every individual one. It was a quick job.
They just threw 9 lights on there and put a battery on it.
To be fair, that prop didn't demand much more work, but in their world, for a prop to be good is beyond unusual. So they got lucky with the prop just lending itself to the story, which wasn't developed. And here we have, I'm guessing Rings of Power outfits. Dave Foley, we mentioned this before. He got messed up in a bad situation. He fought Paramount to keep a story-killing element in his movie, which flopped. Then his supporting man roles all went to Greg Kinnear, making his career irrelevant. Now he's been trying to scrape his way back after a terrible divorce where he actually sat out working, if I understood what he said correctly, because he gets angry when he talks about the divorce. I saw an interview with him, and he wasn't able to keep it clear. If I got this correct, listen to this one, Sean. His divorce was so unfavorable that Dave Foley had enough money from before his marriage that she couldn't take, that he sat out like the terms of the divorce, like 15 years, while he didn't make much money. Because there was no point in working because she kept most of it and he lost money by working.
Oh,
so Dave Foley did. And first of all, I feel terrible for him, and this might not be his fault, but if she was willing to negotiate at all, shame on both of them. But if she wasn't, you stupid bitch, if he can't make anything, he can't give you anything at all. 100% of nothing is nothing. Take 25% of something and incentivize this guy to have a career. We lost a good comedian, and he comes back a shell of himself with a weird story, like some 60s star with a scandal. It's like he was Bobby on the Donna Reed show, but he got arrested in Texas with marijuana. So he did 20 years in the Texas pen. He wasn't messed up when he went in, but he is now. Here he is in a weird role. You know what I mean? Or like whatever, like Dave Foley, we would say hiding from being secretly gay, but his heterosexuality was his downfall. He's confirmed as one of us. So, I mean, you want to see him do better, but a wig from Lord of the Ring, from Rings of Power, and an outfit from Rings of Power. I would like to know, what did you think when you saw Dave Foley? Did you recognize him as one of the kids in the hall?
No, I never watched that show.
Did you recognize him for News Radio?
No, I the only person I recognize from News Radio are Phil Hartman and David Spade. I didn't watch much of the show. I just know those two were in it. But this guy seems like he's,
David Spade wasn't in News Radio.
He wasn't?
It's Andy Dick.
Oh, I thought David Spade was in it.
Yeah, you're thinking of a related show, Just Delete Me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Just Delete Me. He played a character that was the print version of News Radio.
Andy Dick. I wouldn't fuck B. Arthur. I wouldn't fuck Andy Dick's pussy with B. Arthur's dick. That was Jeff Ross.
Well, that's a great joke. As long as you attribute it, stealing is allowed.
Yeah.
Or if no attribution is necessary if you legitimately expand someone else's comic territory that they have carved out.
B. Arthur's reaction to that was so golden. No pun intended.
I saw it so many years ago that I got to tell you, I've built so many jokes off the back of that Sam Kinison special we both saw. I have piggybacked that joke economy. I was like, well, he's not using them no more. Dave Foley was once a funny and entertaining comic who, hey, Mr. Tonic Madman, it's great to see you, sir. You know what?
Eminem.
This guy used to be funny. I used to love the kids in the hall. Alex Kurtzman, this guy's relevance sundowns between the time that I'm in college and the time you get to college, because we're not that far apart. It's one full cycle of high school students separate me from Sean. So we had distinctly different experiences in different parts of the same decades and the same eras. But I caught the front part of it. He caught the tail end of it. And you know what? Different trends and stuff like that. So while we traveled through the same time, we hit the age, the same age, it didn't matter. Because by the time Sean's 20 and I'm 20, 21 and I'm 26, it's the same thing. We're having basically the same experience. But so I didn't catch the kids in the hall are they're intensely funny skit comedy, and they're from Canada, and they almost supplanted SNL. Some of them ended up on SNL, and some of them ended up writing SNL. They get parceled out to writing all of the shows. Their own movie sucks and fails. It's called Brain Candy. And it's just doesn't it's not sensitive to the idea The Paramount people told them, cut Cancer Boy out of your movie. He's not funny. And they fought for Cancer Boy. Cancer Boy was one of the kids in the hall, was an adult, played a juvenile character who had terminal cancer, who was confined to a wheelchair, who spoke with what they call toxic positivity, no matter what. Like, he was upbeat no matter what. And he always delivered bad news with a smile and an upbeat, happy twist, and tried to find a way in his intellectually inhibited manner to justify things. Cancer Boy also wasn't very smart. They debuted him in the last episode of their show, so there was no feedback from anyone, and throw him right into the movie like sight unseen for like no real reason. And it really hurts their movie. Miss Katana says, in that screenshot, Dave Foley looks like Liberace.
That's what it is. That's what I was like, man,
he looks somewhere
familiar.
between Liberace and he honestly looks like an older version of Bilbo with the younger version's wig from Lord of the Rings when they're at Bag End and he's telling Frodo to get ready for the party. He looks like Martin Freeman a bit here from Marvel and from Lord of the Rings, who plays Bilbo. Young Bilbo, but Bilbo. He looks like a mashup of all halflings here. And Dave Foley, not the biggest man. And in this species, how come they have 2 toes but 5 fingers? We don't know. And no opposable thumb toe. But whatever. Okay, then we fly back to the ship. Pike is wasted and it has a Mike Tyson.
Wait, go back one. Look at Chapel. What is she doing?
They're keeping all women's bodies out of picture by having her hide behind the woman who's hiding inside a giant boa. A giant feather boa.
She looks dead. Like she's like doll eyes.
I wonder if she was rotoscoped.
That's okay. They're all dead inside.
Yeah, they are.
They could have been CGI'd in. They could have used some sort of computer technology to put.
They should have
layer the principles on top
on her
of
head
them.
and just do that.
You know what's not beyond these people? To take a still high resolution picture of the murderer and Christine and blow it up full size and have Mount and Rebecca Romijn sit in front of it for when they filmed it, because they are so cheap and so dumb, and they don't give a fuck and they don't care. And this scene was so quick. The fact that we isolated it, there may be shadows present in this frame that give it away. Let me take your comments down for a moment. I see some suspect shadows, to say the least.
Well, there's no shadow on Chapel's, and she's not generating a shadow on my murderer's shirt.
Well, they would try to get shadows off of a principal actor, so maybe that's just them doing their job right. There could be a light cut behind Rebecca Romijn's chair, and we don't know how much further behind them they are, because perspective is hard to tell in 2 dimensions, right? They could be 6 or 7 feet behind them, but I suspect that this is a photograph due to the lack of shadows. We have shadows from chairs, but not shadows that match Christina Mabanga. The shadows match Anson Mount and Rebecca Romijn, especially the shadow behind Anson Mount matches Rebecca Romijn with a light bias coming from her side, creating a larger shadow there. But you know what, guys? You have a chance to look it over. You have a long enough still to grab it. Those of you out there who want to take a look, last week we broke the news that it was Event Horizon, and I was happy that my montage was Major Grin's montage the next day. I didn't do it for the same reason that he did do it. Major Grin is another YouTuber's channel where he does stuff not monetized to do the right thing to show Star Trek and call it out. I salute Major Grin and his real handle, whatever that might be. I'll learn it for you. But Major Grin, sub to that. Go to the description. Sub to the real YouTuber. He's doing the right thing. He deserves our subs and likes. He's a cool guy for the continuity he did. But I beat Major Grin to that last week. You all saw it here. So, you know what? We'll always have Paris. So Pike glamorizes by mistake drunk driving in a very stupid way that even I don't approve of, and I led a reckless life where I am sorry to say I did drive drunk a few times back in the 20th century. Statute of limitations over. Hey, First Lady Laura Bush can do it. President George Bush can do it. President Clinton can do it. President FDR can do it. President, Jackson can do it. Andrew Jackson definitely carriage drove drunk. I can do it once in a while too and be okay. We all make mistakes. I'm not advocating for it. I'm saying don't do it again. Look at these aliens straight out of an earlier phase of sci-fi, Sean and Germ. Sirs, these are disgraceful aliens from Plan 9 from outer space.
This is definitely a ripoff of earlier Star Trek. I think they look kind of like the Binars, but they changed the head a little bit.
I'm talking about mostly their clothes look like Planet Zero or Planet X from Godzilla, Toho Godzilla stuff.
Oh yeah, they got the outfit out of the bin on somewhere on the Paramount lot.
These are Godzilla level movie set costumes. They are terrible and they distract from the seriousness of these very important aliens. We're going to negotiate with very smart Captain Pike. The good news is they know nothing about humanity. The bad news is they know nothing about humanity. Pike's face being covered with literal physical graffiti, looking like the inside of Rolling Stones' tattoo album, Rolling Stones album Tattoo You, in a bad and unsatisfying, uncool, unfun way. I'd rather have their tattoos if I had to have them. And don't tattoo your face. Stay pre-Malone, as we say on this show. Don't be post-Malone with the face art. Don't do it. Call back to the Detained review there, folks, if you watch his show on playlists. All right. So we can see here that out the front of the shuttle is, of course, glass. They have to keep showing that over and over. The shuttle controls is something that they actually did have built. I was surprised. We thought that there was less to the shuttle than there was. There is a physical inside set to the shuttle. It is pieces of the Starfleet Academy set. It is the back of their symposium classroom. This is where Ezra also sits and writes his note in front of the tree. And so atrium pieces and classroom pieces integrated together to make the shuttle set. Then the shuttle controls, whatever, they made those. So Scotty and Ortegas bond here by fixing stuff together, like Princess Leia and Han Solo. I thought this was a good sci-fi story. And here we see blithering fucking idiot Captain Pike. This inquest recommends that a general court be drawn against Anson Mount's Captain Pike immediately, and that he be placed under arrest and confined to the brig, not quarters, until such time as we have 3 command level officers here. We will court Marshal Pike at the end of the series. What do you think? I think that he's headed for Rurapente, if not the vacuum. I know Germ wants vacuum chamber for this Pike, but Germ's a much more angry Star Trek critic than I could ever be.
Well, someone has to pay for this. If it takes the vacuum chamber, we have to use the vacuum chamber.
So we see Anson Mount here, and they managed to put together one piece of physical humor that someone had. This is left over from, again, college dorm room stuff. This is how Alex Kurtzman cheated in college. He has his speech tattooed onto his hands, so he reads it off his hands. And the only cool thing is someone with a brain has taken time to think out that Anson Mount could have tattooed the speech onto his hand in a way that he makes gestures that fit the speech when he moves it. The only moment of decently thought out Star Trek. They spent 4 or 5 hours thinking out this episode of Star Trek, all that 1 minute. They all spent all their creative thought time went to that 1 minute. If they'd gone to 16 hours and sprinkled it out and shown some thought, they could have rescued some of the dumbest moments. We had long minutes of dumb in this episode. That was too long. Once again, Anson Mount manages somehow to make a speech that keeps these idiot aliens confused while Ortegas shows up. And then I didn't understand why Scotty had the ring of power or this grenade. What the fuck?
It's a thermal detonator. What are you talking about?
This is left over
from
from when
Star
Roger.
Wars. This is a Star Wars thermal detonator.
It was a thermal detonator. It was left over from when Roger Corby's planet gave the hand grenades to diverse nurse who held it up to his eyes.
Either that or he's going to go catch a Pokemon or something.
How Scotty knows that this is going to blow up if he releases it is unknown.
Well, he's Scotty.
If he just had said, this is from our world, this is the Cardassian grenade, anything, no, if I can't release it. No, nothing. Like when they did have ideas or stuff that they might have built on successfully, you were distracted by the lack of how undercooked and underthought it was. As we've reached near the end of our slideshow, only 4 slides remain. Captain Pike, it's been the privilege of all ship's captains to publicly act like a jackass in the ship's chapel. And that's something Pike is not going to be cheated out of. He might not be a real captain or real interesting, but he does blather on, covered with his face and body tattoos, to these boring, stupid-ass fucking aliens while Erica tries to distract him. There she is, off to the corner to the right. We have what I think is the real Rebecca Romaine. The only reason I think that is because this person is not doubled to be thinner. They have a beer belly too.
Yeah, this scene was so stupid. Like, there's a fucking bomb about to destroy the ship, and she's like, like she doesn't want to interrupt. Like call red alert, for fuck's sake, Captain. We need
Captain, secure. You go. You don't even talk to the captain. You go to the intercom, like tactical red alert, explosive device on the ship.
This was so stupid. She's like,
and then you start running to the transporter room, and if you can't let go, you're like, I understand what has to be done. Beam me out into deep space, maximum dispersal. I don't want to feel it. Let me die a hero. At least, or maybe you can get the grenade out of my hands and bring me back.
Reed would have been like, give me the bomb, sir.
Even Reed would have, and you know what? Trip Tucker
would
with that transporter would have bought you back without the grenade.
Reed would have had a fucking hard on
to do this. Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? Trip Tucker also would have said, all right, Reed, go ahead and do it. But by the time it was done, Tucker would have found a way to not fully rematerialize him, get the grenade out of his hands, and bring Reed back unharmed with the mission accomplished. This is beyond the thought process of these Star Trek people. We have now, we go into this, what is this, Star Trek Review 135 for this panel? Like, we have reviewed a lot of Star Trek and a lot of New Trek. We know how they could have made this better. We are now experts in especially the most modern iterations of Star Trek, Enterprise in this. I think it was useful to study Enterprise first.
Miss Katana, I was going to say this. They should have drawn a big dick on him.
Yeah, they should have. I should have. Yeah,
we've all done
off his eyebrows.
I did that to a friend of mine. He would pass out all the time, and we told him, like, Rich, if you pass out, we're going to fuck you up. And we shaved his eyebrows, drew a big dick, and fuck you on his face. And he woke up late for work, and he had to go to work like that. All this shit on his face.
Oh,
good
man.
Times. Good times.
Sean, now somewhere in some prison, a man sitting thinking about that job he lost and how his future went awry because he shaved his eyebrows and he couldn't make any money that summer. And his videotaped interview with Harvard was rejected despite having the highest grades in all of Santa Monica Valley. Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know shit, dead man. Yeah, Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know. European vacation. Oh, God. So these weird aliens who have a throwback outfit, they could have walked onto Lost in Space, even though that show really didn't do aliens. We find the log. This is like when they find their cell phone in The Hangover, and it turns out that they broke their arm hanging out, having a great time together, doing what they both love to do, teching things and fixing things, and that the shuttle wasn't lost. They just moved it to work on it better. And then they beam back to the ship and have a good laugh together over how smart that was. While Pike is kind of stuck with this terrible face tattoo that he's left to explain. And of course, my murderer will remove it for him. Well, that concludes our presentation. Sean,
well,
what do you
wait
think
a minute.
of our background today?
I love it.
We're doing the autopsy on the Mugata.
Yeah, they're getting some venom to make an antidote, I guess. But
I had to say Harambe with a unicorn horn to get the the AI to do it.
What we didn't talk about was like when right before they beam out and that explosive device goes off. Isn't it convenient that they had that explosive device was made from the right material that they would respect, that it was done just off the ship so it didn't damage it, and it happened to be in a trajectory where they saw it from that big giant window they were near. Like all these little planets aligned for the plot to fucking happen. It was pure luck. How this
no one was sober
so
throughout
stupid.
this entire episode, either time on the ship or on the planet. On the ship, they're drinking. They go to the planet. They get wasted from the atmosphere. As soon as they're there, they start drinking on top of it. They get back to the ship. They come down off the atmosphere. They start drinking in the ship. They're at the bar in the ship. Alex Kurtzman has a one-track mind. He doesn't glorify alcohol. He singles it out as life's one lone coping mechanism, one lone comfort, and only reason for anyone to be alive.
It was smoking. It was drinking. It was hallucinogens. It was gas. Every type of drug was represented here except for pills. And why didn't the murderer have? Okay,
what do you expect when the episode? Sean, what do you expect when the episode was inspired by hoofing the remains of Star Trek Insurrection off of a knotted up rag?
That's true. But why didn't they at least have a hypo prepared? Like, okay, we're getting off the planet. Let me spray you so you can drive the shuttle and not crash it into the ship. Like, no, just drive drunk. It was so fucking... It was outrageous. Outrageous how awful this. I'm ranting now. I guess I don't know for.
I will now give the coroner's final findings. The manner of death. The ruling on this story is death by misadventure, by creative asphyxiation and lack of cohesion. The story didn't leave a note, so we can only wonder why they ever made this terrible choice. So much of this episode was filmed in one take on a handheld unsteady cam, and that seems to be what the story's only real design was, which explains a lot, doesn't it? Doing this with the absolute minimum amount of crew is what really was inspiring this. Could this have been shot off an iPhone on a selfie stick? Many of the scenes didn't pass muster for us to say definitively no. Many of the scenes half or more. It's not quite a new low, but it's close. The time of death, shortly before the story was ever put to paper by these talentless writers. Final remarks. There can be no true cause of death where life never existed. This simulacrum of Star Trek was but a poor player that strutted and fretted its hour upon the stage and then was heard from no more. It was a tale told by an idiot, filled with sound and fury, signifying nothing. The presence of Dave Foley, whose Paramount movies and projects since Stardate 1996.01 have pretty much all failed, is noted. Archival records have been rumored to exist of him blaming the issues on a divorce so financially punishing he hasn't worked in decades, out of depression over how little money of his own he actually gets to keep. The emerging pattern seems to be it relates to defaming Paramount properties on the case that it defames existing Paramount properties, or in this case, the attempted theft of The Hangover, a property from soon to be acquired Warner Brothers. We believe this to be the work of Alex Kurtzman, a serialized story killer. The determination was made by the similarities in the attack pattern and profiling of the victim IPs. The only good news is there are now only 22 Kurtzman Trek left. There are now only 22 Kurtzman Trek episodes left between this and Academy. Academy
almost
signature Admiral Teag.
It's
Sci-Fi
almost a full
CSI
season's worth.
Forensic Unit. 04, case SNW 0403 closed. Final remarks, gentlemen. Yeah, 23 episodes, a full season of a regular Star Trek show.
Almost, yeah.
Somewhere in there, we also had a couple of sequences that had no meaning that I almost forgot about Spock mind melding with the plant. That's how unmemorable this episode was. It is almost impossible. It is a challenge week to week to remember the events of the week before, but we have given this more than enough coverage. I'd like to save the remaining time for Star Trek this week, where oddly enough, one of the feeder episodes for this. So if you enjoyed our coverage, come back on Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or is it Eastern Daylight Time? I think we're on Daylight Time now. Come back at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, whatever, right now. And we will have our next episode of Star Trek, the original series. It is The Naked Time, which is related to Naked Now from TNG.
And guys, we will be streaming that show naked.
We will all be naked.
Yeah. So tune in.
Never lose you. Guys, you're the best subs in the world. I want to thank everybody who was here. You know what? You're here with us through thick and thin. We never know with the new Trek stuff, the virility, I guess, hey, Wes Cagle, hello. And I guess as making a video or them causing ongoing outrage is part of it. It looks like Paramount may have offered an olive branch to some people. And the fact that everyone's distracted by San Diego Comic-Con might figure into the drop time. A Star Trek conversation is going to start tomorrow or the day after when our pal well, I believe that Sussman hits the stage tomorrow with the Enterprise
is it a 2-week
25
event or what?
I don't think it's 2 full weeks. I think it occurs over the course of different weekends, 2 different weekends.
Okay.
I think there's 2 weekends filled with events because there's just too much for 2 days or even for 4 days.
Yeah.
So the Sussman event, I believe, happens on the 8th. I'm not sure, but San Diego Comic-Con was when Paramount last year allowed us to find out about United. Every drop of Strange New Worlds or other new Trek has been accompanied with news that there's new Star Trek coming from other creators and that there are other ideas out there and reminders of stuff like Star Trek United being possibly in development. We're hoping that this means that pretty soon we'll all be free of this horrible situation where we have to deal with Star Trek United. I mean, sorry,
maybe
not
we'll
Star
have
Trek.
some
We have to
news
deal
on
with
Saturday.
Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Maybe
Alex
we'll have some
Kurtzman
news to
has
drop on Saturday.
refused to confirm he's fired. His contract ended. Did everyone see JDA Talks?
You mean the one about his channel being under attack, or the?
We all know how that feels.
Well,
no, this one was about how the Tachyon Pulse had managed to originate a story about how Alex Kurtzman's contract had run out. I don't think that the last parts of the contract run out until the end of December. However, he may have no right to start filming anything or build sets. He may be just out of there. He may have aged out of the farthest reach of it.
My guess is they probably can't announce anything until the final episode of his shit has aired. But
they can start talking to people now.
Tachyon Pulse had a video where he's like a high up in Paramount. He's going out on a limb saying a high up from Paramount talked with him. And what apparently they're putting all their eggs in the movie basket right now, and then they'll talk about a series. But you never know. I hope we have some news to report Saturday.
You know what? I don't wish bad luck on the Star Trek movie. Least of all, May would do that.
No,
but,
I want it to do well.
The norm these days for production delays to slow these movies down. So, things could change. The show could overtake it. The show's making
they won't announce anything, right? I don't think they're going to announce anything. There's too much sewage around Trek right now.
The thing is,
they need to just hold back tease something. Maybe we're gonna.
That's the kind of announcement I'm thinking of, Sean.
Yeah, we'll have more info for you in a year. On July.
We don't have a green light yet, but here's some of the stories we'll get if there is a a Star Trek.
Oh, I think we'll get some.
And hello, Sci-Fi
tease.
Dad.
I think we're going to get a tease that's not specific. They're going to say, we'll tell you more in May of 2027.
You know what? It wouldn't
save
break anything to have Bakula appear as a retired Captain Archer pondering his political future with one other character from the show.
Well, he said he's not actively involved in anything.
Not actively involved, but endorses and will join. What he
he said he goes, I'll do
producer. At the end, he had an executive producer role on Star Trek Enterprise, so he was writing. I think they were clearing that up.
Yeah,
he helped him write this, he crafted the character, and he's just like, you know what? Michael knows enough to write my character true to form. So, yeah, we should have an update on Star Trek United. Not anything concrete, but stuff about what the future holds and what they're planning. And we should also have a great idea of what's going on with Kurtzman based on the movie. And Kurtzman, of course, refuses to say anything, but he's going to be here forever. And he's just waiting for that phone to ring. So the Sci-Fi CSI hat comes off. Put this on the bed. I'm Italian. I know that's a submission. All right, I'm back ready for regular Star Trek duty on Saturday when we'll see you at 10 p.m. Eastern. We love you all, and you know what? We'll end the way we began with our very quick media opportunity for this week's Sci-Fi CSI, running down the episode for you real quick.
This is Houston, over.
On the final frontier, offenses against the fan base are considered especially heinous. They're investigated by the dedicated reviewers of the Sci-Fi CSI. These are their stories. There you go, the Sci-Fi CSI mission statement to end the show. You guys have earned Sydney.
Admiral, Admiral, did we show the poll results?
Oh my gosh, Sean, sir, thank you, sir. You've done a fantastic job. You've earned your pay for the week, Mr. Carter. Keep having great ideas like that. You'll be allowed to. You'll get a little raise, even more Navy beans. All right, so we have your poll results. And before we go, I'm going to ask the panel. We've got a good amount of votes, pretty scientific here. The question is, was this the worst ever episode of was this the worst episode ever? Was this the worst ever episode ever to be called Star Trek? 2 uses of the word ever there, but they are appropriate. Sirs, this was a nasty episode, 29%. Sir, not good, but we've seen worse, 12%. Sir, they plateaued at subawful. Like the stream, see the results. You're all wonderful people. I appreciate you all. 29% think that this was a nasty episode. Might not be the worst, but it's a nasty. We've gotten to the point now where it's pretty hard, but what they did was they beat up on another Paramount property and they beat up on Star Trek again. And like Kurtzman is just daring them to show every episode. This is irresponsible. And I think Kurtzman knows that he's really finished himself off in Hollywood with some of this crazy behavior that I don't think anyone wants to see. So anyway, Sean, you got anything coming out this week?
Just me.
National Coming Out Week. I thought was in October. All right, Germ. We'll see what Kurtzman has to say. Germ, what have you got going on?
Godzilla Tokyo SOS on Monday.
All right. Before we go, let's close out your poll and get the final results. It's been up on screen. I lost
I'd
track
like
of
to
it.
put a poll somewhere with Kurtzman.
Yeah,
This
me
fucking
too.
episode. This was, but just for the record, I think this was the stupidest, most god awful anything with Star Trek name on it. And Admiral, we have
Admiral Teag, incoming super chat.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so good. You're the best. Let me take a look. Thank you, too. Hey, it's RRTNZ. Hi, Welshie. Hail, Teag and team. I pretend they stopped making Trek after 05. I wish. Life is simpler that way. Yes, I missed the quiet years with no Star Trek. Watched Wrath of Khan yesterday. So very keen to see Sean's Reliant. Ooh.
Yeah, Welshie, do you know the story that I had the meltdown on that? It burned up. So I'm redoing it, but it's going to be better. It's coming back better.
It's going to be better this time. More than a match for poor Enterprise.
So yeah, I listened to the Wrath of Khan soundtrack when I was doing my work outside today. Put the headphones on, and
I love that soundtrack.
Oh, it's so great.
The opening theme can't touch
the funk version is awesome too. I sent you guys that. Look up Star Trek. Look up Star Trek Funk Galore, and they've got a disco version of the TOS series all the way through Enterprise, and the stuff for Wrath of Khan is fucking amazing. Like, it is so good. I've listened to it so many times. It's really, really good. Check it out. It's a good listen.
All right. So there's chats up on screen. The poll completed. Thank you all. As you can see, number one choice was, sir, this was a nasty episode. It really was a nasty episode. I didn't enjoy it. It was one of the more mean-spirited and stupid. It was one of the stupidest ones we ever saw. Its heart wasn't in the right place. It was out to damage Scotty, and you know what? We didn't appreciate it. And the only thing I could say is we've gotten pretty far into the season without dragging out Thomas Jane to defame Dr. McCoy, haven't we?
Scotty damages himself. Oh, wait. Wrong Scotty.
Yeah, you know what? We'll see you guys on Saturday at 10 p.m. Here she is, Sydney Sweeney. We love you all, in the words of the great Ozzy Osbourne.